Am I the a-hole for not attending my sister's wedding because of her wedding tax? What? What did you say?
What are you, deaf and stupid?
Oh, God. All rise for the Honorable Judge Charlotte. You may be seated. All right, Reddit, I'm in a bit of a dilemma, so I could use your advice. So here's the backstory. My younger sister, Emily, is getting married in a couple of months, and while I'm super happy for her, there's been some drama over the whole wedding planning process. Emily and her fiance decided to have a small wedding, which I totally understand, but they also decided to impose a wedding tax on family members attending. They have a list of wedding expenses, things like venue decor and catering, and they expect each family member to contribute extra to make it all happen. Oh. To top it all off, her fiance's family is also chipping in, making the whole thing feel less like a celebration and more like a business deal. My guy, if you can't afford a wedding, don't have one. Or find ways to cut costs. Don't make it everybody else's responsibility. Having a wedding is a privilege, especially in this economy. When my sister brought this up, I couldn't help but voice my concern. I told her it felt unfair to ask family to cover the costs on top of giving a gift. Oh. I suggested maybe doing a more budget-friendly wedding so everyone could enjoy it, but she brushed aside my suggestions. We had a huge argument about it and it turned into a shouting match. I told her weddings should be about love, not financial burdens. Weddings are already a financial burden for like almost everyone involved, you know? Like people most of the time have to take time off work, they have to get you a gift, they have to do your bachelorette, your bachelor parties, like your wedding showers. All of these things cost money. And quite frankly, if someone asked me to pay for part of their wedding in exchange for a seat at that wedding, I would say, no, bad. Nobody's gonna be at your wedding, my guy. So in the weeks that followed, she refused to speak to me and even blocked my number for a while. Ooh. Okay, is no one else telling her that this is absurd?
Nope.
I felt really hurt, but I received an invitation to the wedding, complete with a note that if I wasn't chipped in, I shouldn't bother coming.
Oh no, oh no.
No, please let me pay for your wedding. I've been debating whether I should go or not. On one hand, I want to support my sister, but on the other hand, I feel like it's really messed up to blatantly ask for cash from family. My parents think I should just suck it up, contribute, and attend for the sake of family, while my friends are telling me I'd be better off skipping it altogether. So like, how much is she asking for? Just out of curiosity. I feel like you answered that later. Am I the a-hole for considering not going to my sister's wedding because of the wedding tax? Am I being a jerk for standing my ground on what I believe should be a joyful occasion and not a financial obligation? Edit, my sister did not make me a bridesmaid, but I'm totally okay with it. But she's having her wedding in a really expensive hotel, and she's also asking everyone for money, but she's not paying for anyone's hotel room, and I'm expected to pay around $250 to $1,000 on top of the gift. Yeah, that's a lot. I would argue that you're probably already spending that much on, you know, the dress, the makeup, like, you know, there's so many expenses that incur with weddings, especially like if you're close to the bride and groom. I'm surprised that no one else has said anything because this is crazy. Anytime I've reacted to stories where people are like, yeah, we're charging ticket prices for our wedding, it's like, dude, like, no, please. No, that's just a surefire way to like not only push away everyone around you, but also to have like literally no one attend your wedding. If you can't afford a wedding, don't have one. Elope or think of something to do where people can pitch in that's not a financial obligation, because this is just like so entitled. So we do have an update. Hey Reddit, I'm back with an update on the whole wedding drama from my previous post about my sister's wedding tax. Buckle up because things have escalated. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions, sibling rivalry, and unexpected twists. So after much deliberation, I decided to stand my ground and not attend Emily's wedding. Good. It's on principle. Cause like, that's like, it's not okay. I sent her a heartfelt message explaining my reasons, reiterating I love her, but I can't support what feels like exploitation of family when joining a celebration. I thought that might lead to some sort of resolution or at least a civil conversation. But boy, was I wrong. The day of the wedding rolled around, and out of nowhere, I received a text from my mom freaking out because Emily's wedding had fallen into chaos. Apparently, guests who paid the fee were fighting about seating arrangements, and some of the vendors canceled last minute, putting everything in disarray. My mom was in a tizzy, insisting it was all my fault for not supporting the family during this important event. No. Here's the thing, when you're forcing people to pay for there's gonna be expectations. That food better be amazing. The entertainment better be incredible. I would have half a mind to think that, like, she's pocketing some of it. I don't trust that. I just don't. People feel entitled even when you give them for free. I can't even imagine how entitled they would feel, and rightfully so, if they paid for part of it. I took a step back. That wasn't guilt tripping enough for my vibe, but then I received a call from our aunt who was furious. She blamed me for Emily's wedding day being ruined, which I found ridiculous considering I wasn't even there. My aunt accused me of causing a divide within the family over money and tarnishing the spirit of the occasion. If only she'd seen the way Emily chose to treat her family like ATMs. As things continue to spiral, I heard through the grapevine that Emily's wedding day somehow went even more volatile. Guests who had fronted cash got into arguments over the wedding tax and felt cheated when the food didn't match the expensive price tag. Yeah. And right after dinner, a huge fight broke out. One of Emily's friends was tossed out for making a scene about the money they had to contribute, and it quickly escalated to shouting, with both the bride and the groom caught in the crossfire. I don't. Somehow, I believe it. But it gets crazier. My sister's new mother-in-law decided to throw her own fit, demanding a refund because she felt cheated on the wedding package. Emily was left sobbing in the corner, clearly feeling overwhelmed, and the whole scene turned into a reality show level of drama. Her fiance was left apologizing while the bridal party tried to salvage what little grace remained. So why is that your fault? Like, you weren't there. You removed yourself from the situation. Eventually, I got another message from Emily, conveyed through my mom. It was a half-hearted apology along the lines of, "I'm sorry it turned out this way, but you still owe me." Owe you for what? You didn't go. Nothing about clarity on expenses or acknowledging how bizarre the whole situation was. Now I'm feeling a mixed bag of emotions. I mean, I do feel sympathy for my sister. No one wants their big day overshadowed by chaos. But at the same time, it feels a little satisfying knowing my intuition about the wedding tax was spot on. I guess it shows that I wasn't the crazy one. The whole situation was just flawed from the start. So here I am, still uncertain about my future relationship with Emily. Do I reach out and try to mend things? Is it too late, or does this create a moment of clarity for her to reflect on what was really important? I somehow feel like she's still blaming you, though. I don't love the half-hearted apology. I mean, intentions are high, emotions are high, her wedding was just ruined, but that's also her fault. Am I the a-hole for still holding fast to my beliefs about family and finances when it resulted in such explosive fallout? Should I let her contact me if she wants, or dive back in to pick up the pieces? What is the right move here? I would let her contact you. I wouldn't do the contacting though. Oh, we have another update. Her fiance is filing for a divorce. Update 2, they ended up not divorcing. I think she might be cheating on him. Should I tell him? I haven't talked to them in a long time and he might not believe me. How do you know that? Ooh. Okay, yeah, don't love that. So yeah, let this be a lesson to those who want to have a wedding but are concerned of cost. Believe me, I get it. Me wallet's a little thin right now, and it probably will be for at least the rest of the year. No trips, kind of keeping it tight for the time being. But in hindsight, it was absolutely worth it, in my opinion. I had a beautiful wedding. I really made it the least inconvenient that I could possibly make it. Hopefully people enjoyed it. I mean, they still came. I thought having a destination wedding was gonna make people not come and I could have like a smaller guest list, but no, everyone came. It was worth it, I wanted it to be like beautiful for everyone and worth it for the expense that they inevitably had to endure due to my wedding. I could never imagine sitting there and even expecting a gift from anyone, especially when they are doing so much to accommodate me and my wedding. I would never expect that. The idea of charging people money to go to my wedding is just like, you're hosting a party. Like, maybe it was just how I was raised, but like, if I'm hosting, I'm taking care of you. So yeah, if you're thinking of having a wedding and it's getting a little pricey, it does that, but you under no circumstances charge your guests money to attend, ever. So are you the a-hole for not attending your sister's wedding because of her wedding tax? No, not in my eyes. Good for you for standing your ground. We got some more wedding drama for you. Don't go anywhere if you're enjoying this video and you like a little talking. You like to hang out. We do this quite often, like every 4 or 5 days. So please hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this video and you'd like to see more.
I like you.
This next one is from the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. My friend called off his wedding relationship, partly because of me. I'm a 37 female in a wheelchair due to multiple health issues, and I haven't walked since I was 13. My friend is 36 male, let's call him Nick, and his now ex is a 38 female, call her Mandy. Her and I were friends too, just haven't known each other as long. I met Nick in 9th grade, and he was such a sweet weirdo like me, and we got along very quick. Even though I was in a wheelchair, he treated me just like everyone else. Nick and I met Mandy in 11th grade at a basketball game between our two high schools. She was a cheerleader, very loud, beautiful, extrovert compared to our introvert selves. This is not a jealousy story. She would occasionally hang out with us over the next few months, but she had a boyfriend, so Nick never made any moves to try and date her. Summer came and I went to my grandparents' house like normal, and Nick stayed in town. We only talked a handful of times because long distance wasn't free back then. When I got home, the week before school started, Nick asked me if I wanted to hang out and catch up, which obviously I jumped at the opportunity because I missed not just him, but the whole group of friends we normally hung out with. We all went bowling and grabbed food. Later that night, Nick asked me if I wanted him to take the bus with me home because it was kind of late and he was worried about me. Oh, that's nice. I would never say no to him. Did I have a crush on him? Absolutely. Most girls did. He was your typical blonde hair, blue-eyed, about 6 foot, could have been in a boy band cutie. When we walked to my house, since he walked me the 10 minutes from the bus stop, he asked if we could talk for a bit, and I said yes. He started off by telling me he doesn't want to hurt my feelings, and he definitely does not want to see me crying. Okay. So I was a bit confused. I looked at him kind of weird and said, okay, tell me what you want to talk about. He kind of laughed and told me for the longest time he had a small crush on me, but never wanted to ruin our friendship, and now he was afraid that he was going to because of what he did and how it happened. Okay. I was honestly still so confused, but I asked him to explain. He laughed and said, I accidentally got a girlfriend. I wasn't surprised at all because it's Nick, after all. A guy like him can only stay single for so long. I said, okay, I'm happy for you. What does it mean that you can't also be happy and find what makes you happy? And trust me, it hurt being that. I asked him who's his girlfriend, and he stared at me a while, and it seemed like 5 minutes. Eventually, in almost a whisper, he said Mandy. Honestly, I wasn't surprised that they liked or started dating. I was thrown off though, because I knew she had a boyfriend, last I heard. I asked him what happened to her boyfriend. That's when he told me why I will probably be upset with him. He said he messed up and was ashamed of what went down. I grabbed his hand and said I could never dislike him, so just tell me. Oh boy, I was not prepared for what he was going to say, because he was kind of like your good boy next door, went to church every Sunday, said yes ma'am, yes sir, you're good old good guy. So when he told me he went to a party, which wasn't out of normal, but she had been there and somehow talked him into drinking something he's not used to doing at all, he got wasted quick. One thing led to another, and the next thing you know, he was waking up next to her in the morning. Mandy had cheated on her boyfriend, and Nick was responsible. He said he panicked, grabbed his things, and left. He felt terrible because he did so many things he thought he never would, like drinking, at least to the point of being drunk, and sleeping with someone before marriage, and worst of all, being part of someone cheating. I tried to calm him down because at this point he was kind of hyperventilating, and I told him, things happen and God will still love you and your parents will understand if they ever found out. That's when he threw a curveball at me and said after he left, he can't remember seeing a balloon for spicy time anywhere. He called Mandy and she laughed it off and said, silly boy, you never used a balloon and you didn't. He was horrified and she thought it was kind of a joke, and a couple days before this conversation, she told him she was 3 weeks pregnant and not sure if it was his or her ex-boyfriend. Nick, being the guy he was, told her, I've always liked you enough. This is a little off from what I'm used to. Let's date and allow me to man up for what I did. See where it goes. Let me state that he did not date her because she was pregnant, but because he did like her, even though, through my eyes, the sweet girl she had been was shattered because of the way she acted. It was senior year, and Nick had half his life planned out after high school. He was going to join the Marines for 4 years, then cross over to the Navy and become a Navy SEAL, hopefully. But even if he did not become one, he was going to stay in the Navy and eventually go to college for engineering. So potentially having a kid was putting a little bit of a wrench in his plans. They dated for about 6 months when she supposedly lost the baby. I say this because she would never allow him or her ex to go to any of the doctor appointments with her. To this day, she still has never shown proof of being pregnant. A bunch of us kind of felt like she was trying to trap one of them. Regardless, after they broke up, we graduated high school. Nick followed through with his dreams and goals and ended up running back to her 5 years ago. Nick and I have always been friends. Even though he moved from Las Vegas, where we are from, to Virginia Beach for work, it took a bit, but Mandy became my friend again because she seemed like she changed. Within reason, because she did make remarks about how it was crazy people could stay friends for 20 years, and the fact that I looked like I gained weight. I've never been skinny. Anyways, he fell for her all over and started dating her, and he seemed genuinely happy, and I was excited for him because he had a really rocky and tragic last 15 years. He was married and had 2 kids. He was deployed and found out his wife cheated and also got breast cancer that ended up taking her life. After which one of his best friends told him his kids weren't his kids because he knew one was for sure. Okay, oh, this is messy. Neither of which ended up being his, and both wanted to be with their biological dads, 2 different guys. It completely broke him, but he did go to therapy and somehow learned to deal with it. I wouldn't say completely covered, but did his best. Again, I say this is not a jealousy story, even though I've been accused of it recently. Also, for a little context, I've been very happy in a relationship for 11 years with my boyfriend, who I call my husband. I also did have the chance to date Nick at one point, but I did turn it down, so no jealousy there whatsoever. This is where I might have ruined my friend's wedding. After they got engaged last year, Mandy turned into a bridezilla times a million. She went full-blown psychopath, basically thinking everybody needed to bow down to her, and that she was the queen of the freaking universe. I was going to say they chose things for the wedding, but she would not let him choose anything. She chose a venue here in Vegas, very fancy and expensive. Everything else she chose followed the suit of being very expensive and fancy. Of course, I was one of the people that Nick invited to the wedding, and the guest list was roughly 175 to 200 people. Ooh, expensive. And he could only invite 50 people. At one point through the planning, he called me and asked if he could talk. I never turned my back on him because he's been there through a lot of things. He asked me if I thought he was making a mistake. Ooh. The fact that he's even asking you means he knows he is. My response was only he could determine that. I did tell him he needed to make sure this is what he wanted and also probably get a prenup. He's not the richest person, but his family comes from money and he has a lot to lose. And the way Mandy was acting over the wedding, I didn't want something to go wrong down the line. He eventually told her she needed to sign one, and she threw a fit, of course. Him being a sweetheart never told her I mentioned it. Now she'd called me a few times to ask, because I was in a wheelchair, if I could wear something a little more glamorous to her wedding. And I responded I could probably find something I could be comfortable in. That's not what pissed me off. She had an absurd request. The real punch in the gut. It was when she asked me, considering that the venue was so fancy, if I could leave my wheelchair at home and not bring it. And do what? Crawl? I don't know if you're like paralyzed from the waist down or the neck down or whatever, but like it doesn't like really work like that. You can't just like, oh yeah, I just won't bring it today. What? She stated it would make her wedding tacky compared to the expensive surroundings, or if I could get a new one and doll it up with jewels and bling. I wonder if she would say that if she had like an elderly grandmother that needed to be in a wheelchair. That's crazy work. I'm sorry, what? I was so appalled at the request. Like, how the hell am I supposed to leave my wheelchair at home when it's my lifeline of getting around and my insurance was not just gonna pay for a new one to accommodate her wedding? My response was a lot more colorful language, but I basically told me I won't be going. I told her I could not break Nick's heart. So she would have to tell him that I won't be coming, and it was up to her to decide to tell the truth of why. I knew more than likely he would end up calling me to ask why, but I let it go. Now it's the beginning of June and the wedding is in a month, or should I say, was. Oh no, sorrows, sorrows, prayers. See, Nick called me and he was kind of upset. And I thought it was because of me, and it was not. But because of a few of the elders in his family he invited to the wedding, including his grandparents on both his mom and dad's side of the family. 2 of them use a wheelchair, one walker and the other a cane. Literally. Wait. He told me that Mandy asked him to leave their tacky, wore down, and old assistant devices at home or don't attend because she refused to have her glorious day ruined by such ugly attire. Oh yeah, she gotta go. What the f? Of all things to be weird about. I had no words and no clue what to say to him. I was at a complete loss. Asking me is one thing, but to have the audacity to ask his grandparents is a whole other can of worms, and no one should ask that. I felt bad because I said it's the reason I'm not coming either. He laughed and asked, "You knew my grandparents were asked this nonsense?" I responded, "No, the psychopath asked me not to bring my wheelchair." He lost his mind and yelled, most of which I didn't understand, and I've never heard him so pissed off. He hung up, and a couple days ago, I got a call from Mandy telling me my jealous, crippled ruin her wedding and relationship. I hung up and called Nick. Jealous, crippled. Yeah, no, she ruined her own wedding. I'm just saying that right now. He told me the whole explosion of a story. He confronted her and admits he did yell at her and called her a psychopath and a bridezilla. After all of it, her response was she only gets married once. She's going to get the wedding she wants and deserves for putting up with his work and life. It's not going to happen if he keeps trying to add his 2 cents. And if he doesn't like it, he can sit in the corner and deal with it. And she's the boss in the relationship. If he doesn't like it, he can also like not be in the relationship either. You know, there's another option too.
Just go sit in the corner and cry about it.
No, I'm good. He just needs to make the money and give her what she wants. Also, that he shouldn't listen to jealous B words that'll never have him because they're too fat and crippled and can never satisfy him like she can because of her cheerleader past. And yes, she was talking about me. She then told him to choose between them or her, meaning his family, and me or her. This person sounds unhinged. I'd rather die than be married to someone like this. Of all hills to die on, she showed her true colors, at least. Thank God it happened before he got married to her. He's not a very violent person, but told me it took everything in him not to punch her. He did, however, tell her to get all her shit she bought herself and get the hell out of his house, and to leave the car since he owns it. She told him that he just needed time to cool down. She said, I'll see you the day she walked down the aisle. He said the relationship and wedding were completely over, and he was beyond mistaken to think he could ever be happy. He said he was beyond glad that he got to see the nightmare before the wedding and making a huge mistake. She started telling everybody I was the reason why all this happened, not taking any responsibility for what she said and how she acted. Apparently, the people who were on her side think I'm a jealous person who wants to be with him and destroy the relationship in hopes he would come to me. But I'm very happy in my relationship. Nick has since told everybody what went down, and most people were appalled. Although there were a few people who said I should have just shut my mouth. You didn't even really say much, honestly. You just told him the truth. The thing is, I was just icing on the cake that made him explode. She told him his own grandparents couldn't bring their assistant devices. That gave them the ability to get around. What kind of psycho does that? Now, am I the a-hole? I do feel kind of bad, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad that it happened before it was too late and not for a jealousy thing. Honestly, 5 years ago, when she came around again, I thought she was a completely different person. And yeah, she's completely worse than she was years ago. I don't know. I think I'm just angry, but am I the a-hole? No, that relationship was headed south anyway. How are you not embarrassed? Like, what an absolutely ridiculous request. I would say absolutely not the a-hole. I don't even know why you're asking, obviously. This is insane. She's insane. But we do have an update. A couple of updates. I got a call from Nick today, and when I say a huge can of worms exploded, oh boy, did they. Nick has been finding out small tidbits of information about Mandy and her psychopath past and ways. She's been married twice before. She never mentioned it to Nick and always stuck to saying she was engaged. 2 other times, never married. He went down a rabbit hole and searched online for her marriage and divorce records. Not only was she married twice, but she still is. Oh, wow. He confronted her and she got defensive because he inquired and told him it didn't matter. Her divorce was supposed to be finalized a week before the wedding, as if this was nothing. She then proceeded to tell him she had 3 kids, 2 by her first husband and 1 by some random guy, both of which have custody of their children. I mean, let me just pop up my glasses, my invisible glasses. It's interesting, most of the time in a divorce, the mother gets custody, or at the very least, joint custody. So the fact that they have custody is interesting. She refused to give up too many details, but she said she signed away her rights only to not have any responsibility or pay child support. She stated she didn't think it was his business or that anyone would ever find out or at the very least tell him. She said she forgot he had some nosy and doesn't know boundaries friends. This is not like a boundary thing. Like, I feel like this is like very important information that you should be telling your partner. What if like one of the kids shows up out of the blue?
Surprise.
Right now, this is all I know, but I've got my Coke and popcorn waiting for more details. Nick did tell me I could update only what he allows, talk about dodging a serious bullet. Whoa. Obviously not the a-hole. Yeah, it sucks that the wedding was ruined, but like, you did him a favor, a big favor. We do have one more update. I wanted to give a bit of an update on what's been happening since my post 7 months ago. To be honest, I'm still a bit surprised by it all, even though everyone seems to think it was obvious. I'm autistic, so I don't always pick up on those written on the wall signs or read the room perfectly, and this caught me totally off guard. If you're confused when you hear this, just know I was right there with you. After the phone call and everything coming to light, he realized he couldn't go through with the wedding. He ended things with her right there and then. It's been, for lack of a better word, a show. He found out she was still married and her divorce was supposed to go through the same week they were getting married, but it never happened. She was only trying to marry him because she was in debt and knew he had money from his savings and his family. She thought marrying him was her way out. Everyone kept saying it was jealousy, but it is not jealousy from me at all. I would argue maybe it's from her. It was never that I wanted to be with him or anything like that. I've been in a relationship with the guy I call my husband, not that anybody needs to know, but we can't legally be married because I would lose my disability and my health insurance and I can't do that. I love the guy I'm with. My best friend is great, but he's not the one for me. Y'all, this is where my mind got completely blown. I received multiple phone calls from our friends asking what went down. There were people who knew both my best friend and the bride who thought I was the jealous one. No. It turns out that since we were teenagers, he's been telling this woman I'm the one who's amazing and stellar perfection. By the way, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm overweight, and I'm nowhere near perfect. I mean, okay, so those are outwardly things, but like, you're a good person. This part kind of broke my heart. He's been telling her that while my personality was perfect, being with me would be too complicated because I'm in a wheelchair and he wanted an active, outdoorsy military life. He basically told her I wasn't pretty enough or right for his lifestyle.
Oh, hell no, man.
That's why she hated me. She felt like she had to live up to this impossible standard he set, all while he was using my disability as a reason why he couldn't be with me. I don't love that he said that. Like, did he use those words exactly? Like, I guess we'll never know. I obviously did not read the room because I had no clue he was secretly in love with me, let alone telling anyone about it. Here I was thinking he was my best friend, like a brother to me. I mean, yeah, he's cute and sweet, but this is just crazy. My mind is honestly all over the place. Aside from the fact that she was using him for money, her feelings were ultimately destroyed because of him, and I had no idea. I don't feel sorry for her though. She has her own list of faults and problems, including finally admitting to faking a pregnancy when we were teenagers, which is just a terrible thing to do. But honestly, I have no clue what to do now. I feel like a wall has gone up between me and my best friend, and I can't even bring myself to talk to him. People are telling me I was dumb for not seeing this. That so many people knew the truth while I was completely in the dark. How did I miss all of this? Am I the a-hole? I would feel a little weird about like being his friend if he's been going around telling people that. That's just like, you really don't need to say that out loud. Small edit to post. I'm asking if I'm the bad person. Aside from what I found out he's been saying to women all these years, and aside from the bridezilla being a nightmare, people are blaming me for being oblivious. But like, how could you have known? Like, you can even read it in the way that you wrote your last post that you didn't know. Apparently, I should have seen his feelings, but I swear to me he was just my best friend. I mean, I think that you kind of thought that there was, I don't know, there was a part of me that was like, oh, like when he asked to like go talk to her, you know, and like tell her that he got Mandy pregnant or whatever. There was a small part of me that was just like, interesting. And she said that she also had to turn him down at one point. But like, other than that, I don't know if it's like entirely obvious. Hindsight is 2020. Finding out he was destroying people's emotions killed me inside. I know in my heart now that if he actually loved me, he wouldn't say how great I am, but I'm not pretty enough to be with. Yeah, that part. I don't love that. And like to tell like your girlfriend that too, like your fiance, yeah, that's weird.
Disgusting.
If he actually loved those other women, he wouldn't tell them they were only pretty but needed my personality. How am I the bad person for not seeing what he was doing? If I would have known, I would have cut him off a long time ago. My motto is kindness is free and destroying someone else's life is never acceptable. Now I see everything. I'm being told I'm a terrible person because I went no contact with Nick. Not just for him, the mutual friends. And I think I'm beginning to realize I don't really have friends. How can someone say such hurtful things? If anybody says that kind of stuff to you, it's just sort of like, it is what it is. I'm sorry that that's happening. She did edit one more time because multiple people have asked. Nick's sister's the one that came to me and mentioned what he's been saying, not only to his most recent ex, but in general over the years. She even asked if I had any idea it has been coming up. I did not, because I would have shut that down so fast. I don't like my feelings being destroyed, let alone somebody destroys somebody else. I'm the most awkward person and I have no issue calling somebody out or asking questions because I like forming my own opinion and not going based on somebody else. And I have been hurt in the past because I trusted another person. So naturally I did ask Nick and he he confirmed every last thing his sister said and a few other things that were just as cruel. He did try to turn it, and there's something that did not sound as mean as what originally happened, but I stopped him there. I told him there was no way in hell he had any feelings for me. And if he thought he did, it was not real love. And he basically used me as an excuse to hurt other people. You don't love somebody if you can sit there and say that she's amazing on the inside, but not the outside. And because I have a lot of health issues and I'm in a wheelchair, I would damage his active lifestyle and him doing what he wanted in the military. So I did not just listen to somebody. I did verify it with him, and it hurt me even more. Hearing it from somebody I thought was my friend for over half my life. Listen, I'm sorry. I like, obviously this is terrible, but like, I would stay so far away from that mess. You're happy in your relationship. I'm sorry that you lost a friend, but doesn't really sound like much of a friend, to be honest. Sorry, but Nick is a piece of crap. He's been using you for emotional support, confesses his love, but can't be with you because you're disabled. Sounds like a bit of a hero complex. Distance yourself and live your best life with your partner. OP says, I have gone no contact with him, but I'm being told I'm a terrible person for doing that, not just by him, but by people in our friend group, and it hurts. Well, like, f those people then. Like, f those people. You didn't know. I'm sure that you never thought that this would be possible, right? Honestly, no, not the a-hole. Screw those people. Go be happy in your relationship. Am I the a-hole for not properly matching a wedding gift? My husband and I were married this past summer. It was a family-only event. The only friends invited were the maid of honor and best man. We wanted it small. In total, there were around 60 guests. One of my parents' siblings has children, my uncle with 6 to be precise. We joke that he made up for none of my aunts having kids. I'm an only child. Only one of my cousins is close to me, and I strongly wanted him and his girlfriend, who I am also close to, in attendance. When I brought that up to my mom, she insisted that if I invite him, I also needed to invite his siblings for fairness. Yeah, they do that, don't they, moms? This wasn't the plan initially, but whatever, an extra 5 guests. Invites went out, and we received RSVPs, yes from all, including 4 significant others of the cousins. Here's the thing. You invite the cousins, you also have to invite their significant others. You invite one cousin, you have to invite them all. You invite the cousins, and then you have to invite their significant others. It's just, at some point you gotta draw a line, but I'm just saying. The wedding was magical and went off without a hitch. I'm happy to hear. My uncle's table was the only one not to participate in anything, but hey, their prerogative. We opened the gifts the next day and received a check for $1,000 from their family. A generous amount for sure, but a group gift that wasn't even individually signed. Again, fine, all gifts are appreciated. The cousin I'm actually close to snuck us a card with their own gift. Since then, 3 of my cousins have gotten engaged. The first one was on short notice, planned in a matter of months. It was last weekend, and my husband and I were invited to the cocktail hour, but not the ceremony or dinner. Okay, that's important, right? Because when you're giving a gift, you're supposed to pay for your plate. Yet again, fine. It was only a 2-hour drive, so easy enough to pop over, then head home on the same day. We said hi to everyone, but left early since it was mostly their friends with very few people we knew. Our gift was $250. That sounds pretty close to like what they gave you. Let me just do the math here. So it was $1,000 from a family with at least 10 people. So there's 5 cousins, there's significant others, so like around 10, plus your uncle and aunt. 12 people gave $1,000. I'm not smart enough to do the math on my own. Hang on, let's do the math. $1,000 divided by 12. Give or take $100 a person. You gave more than they did. Yesterday, I was shocked to see my newlywed cousin was calling. Okay. What could it be about, I wonder? I figured she was doing the give a call instead of the formal note thank you thing. Nope, it was to berate me for being a selfish B-word and only giving her a fraction of what she gave me. Oh, no. No. I was confused because the gift we received was technically from 7 couples. Her name wasn't even on the card. I tried to explain this since we really don't have the money to be gifting $1,000 for multiple weddings. It would be one thing if each person from that family, like each couple, gave you $1,000, but it was $1,000 for 12 people. Wait, more than that, 14 people. That's even less. Let me do the math. I would actually argue that it wasn't even her that gave the money. I would say that it's probably her uncle. But anyways, 14 people, $1,000 divided by 14. $71 a person. This is so tacky to me. Like, this is literally so unbelievably tacky. It is not a requirement to give anyone a gift. I think at the very least, it's polite to pay for your plate. And it's, you know, you can also take in their gift to you into an account, but there's other things at play. Like, let's say, hate to talk about myself, but it's my only point of reference. Let's say if you have a destination wedding and people are spending money on your wedding. I'm not expecting a gift after that. Would be nice to get a card, but no gift? Not expected, and certainly not encouraged. But the idea of like holding it against someone, you can hold it against someone, I feel like, especially if you gave them something and they got you nothing. But like to call and yell at them, even if, let's say they actually gave you $1,000 each, so uncouth. Have some decorum.
So uncivilized.
I didn't have the money to be gifting $1,000 for multiple weddings. She hung up on me. Since then, she sent multiple articles about manners and how you're meant to match the wedding gift you were given. Yes and no, right? Like, yes and no. But like, if that's the case, then you should have given them $70 each. Let's call it $70 per person, so like $150 per couple. Interesting that she's dying on this hill when her entire family gave you $1,000, which is a great gift, but not if they expect $1,000 when they get married. I asked my parents how much they gave and found out they had given $1,000 as a gift from our family, specifically naming my husband on the card. Interesting. Oh, this is tacky. Yuck. Yuckity yuck yuck.
Oh, that is disgusting.
I'm a little frustrated. If a family gift is appropriate, then $250 we gave as a bonus and the amount was matched, literally. Oh my God. No, this isn't about you matching anything. They're being tacky. They're being entitled and tacky. You're not entitled to a gift. It's rude to not get a gift, but you're not entitled to a gift. I didn't want to start anything, so I haven't pointed this out to my cousin. I would. I'd be like, next time she brings it up, I'd be like, oh, by the way, my mom told me she gave you guys $1,000 and I gave you $250. So actually, if we're going by who should be price matching, it should be you. She ain't gonna like that. I'm just telling you right now, she ain't gonna like it, but it's gonna be funny. In fact, I would actually want to see her face when I say it, FaceTime or in person. No, if we're gonna be petty, then let's be petty. Let's go. Let's go. So I'm still getting texts from her and her siblings about how greedy I am. We've been uninvited to the next cousin wedding because they don't want to waste money on trash like us that don't reciprocate. Are we really a-holes here? Trash like you that don't reciprocate. I would literally send it in the group chat if that's the case. Just so everyone's on the same page.
Just want to make sure we're aligned.
So passive aggressive, I might add.
Just making sure we're aligned on that.
I use that too, but it's like, listen, you're confused. Let me reiterate to you what the facts are so that we are aligned. And if we're still not aligned, we're gonna have a problem. Not the a-hole. $250 is more than enough to give, literally. That's pretty normal for weddings. It's actually pretty generous. How are these people affording $1,000 wedding gifts? No, they're not, though. That's the thing. Like, the entire family gave $1,000. And actually, I would probably argue that it wasn't even them that gave the gift. I would think it was their, like, the uncle, like their dad. Yeah, even other people in the comments are literally clocking it. They're like, I wouldn't be surprised if the cousins put in little to nothing of that $1,000 and it actually came from the uncle. I wouldn't put it past them, straight up. Also, going to point out, don't forget, OP wasn't invited to the wedding, so no gift was technically necessary since they were only invited to the cocktail hour, which requires no gifts. Next time, give her a book from Emily Post on etiquette. Yeah, that's very important to note as well. When you're giving gifts to a wedding, like, obviously you give a gift because it's like the nice thing to do, but like, you're paying for your plate. So like the more expensive the wedding, the more extravagant, you know, you tend to pay a little bit more. There's a tradition, I think, with Italian families where they bring like a wad of cash, like in an envelope, and like based on how good the wedding is or how bad, they like take money out. So it's all up to you, really. Depends on your culture. But yeah, no, I would actually argue that like you went above and beyond with your gift. Them, honestly. Like you did them the courtesy of inviting them to your wedding. You paid for them when it was already small, and they gave you next to nothing, didn't pay for their plate, and now they're getting mad at you? Not the a-hole. They're trying to take advantage of you and your family by trying to get $2,000 when they only put in minimal effort. I would reach your uncle pretending you're confused. Like, sorry, uncle, but my mom gave your kid $1,000 and I gave $250. And now they're all writing to me saying I should have given $1,000 too because they did. But the truth is I only received $1,000 from you as the family, which is exactly what my mom did. Did I miss their $1,000 cards? Did they maybe give it to someone at the venue? Let me know. I'm afraid their cards have been stolen because they're literally talking as if they've given me $1,000 each. I love that. I love the play dumb. Here's a little tactic, all right? I'm gonna teach you guys a little tactic I learned from my mother-in-law. But she's told me now, so it doesn't work on me. She can't use it on me. Not that she would ever need to, but like anyways. When someone's being a to you, you literally just say, I'm confused. Well, what do you mean? You literally just play dumb and just be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, well, this is what's going on, but could you explain to me what you mean by that? Because this is what I thought was going on. And then they have to repeat themselves and they look like the asshole. Let's say someone says to you like something that's super rude or like passive aggressive, but not overtly rude. What do you mean by that? Oh, could you clarify what you mean by that? I'm confused. Could you spell it out for me? And then they have to spell it out in not so uncertain terms. And then they look like an asshole, because they are. I love it. I love it. Am I the a-hole for not properly matching a gift for a wedding? You did. No. Jesus, Mary Joseph. Fiance's friend wants to wear an almost white dress to our wedding and is being condescending about it. Would I be the a-hole to withdraw the invite? Essentially, my fiance has a friend from college that I've only met once. I was never a huge fan of her, as she's been snarky with me in the past, but he wanted me to invite her and her boyfriend because her boyfriend is a fun guy and his friends still like her, and I was fine with it. My fiance and her aren't close anymore, so we were loosely considering inviting them and decided it couldn't hurt. I really didn't think much of it until yesterday when she posted a clothing haul on Instagram and pulled out this very almost white gown and claimed she would be wearing it to a wedding in June. Our wedding's in June. She gonna get ripped apart in those comments. You don't even have to do anything, I'm just saying. I replied to her post and said exactly the following. I love that white set you showed. I might have to snag it myself. For the dress though, is that what you plan to wear to our wedding? She replied, yep, nothing else, just yep. I asked my bridal party what their thoughts were, and every single person said this was outrageous. None of us are particularly conservative, but the cut feels a bit much for a wedding. But I could easily overlook that in exchange for it not being so close to white. On camera, especially, it looked very white. So I'm sure this will photograph white. I responded and asked if she would be able to find it in another color, and she said, no, I will be wearing this or I just won't come. It's a yellow dress, sweetie. Calm down. Sweetie, not the sweetie. Ooh. And then the little kissy face. Calm down. I haven't replied yet, and my fiance doesn't know any of this is happening, but I'm very strongly considering withdrawing her invite with my fiance's blessing. I would literally just text her and be like, I'm not comfortable with you wearing that to my wedding, so either find a different dress or don't come. Is that rude?
A little. That's okay. So is she.
With my fiance's blessing, which I'm sure I will have as we are on the fence about inviting them in the first place. It's not even just the dress color, but the fact that she's trying to call shots on our day and continues to be so snarky to me that rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, I get that. At this point, is it like even worth it? I'm surprised she didn't get ripped apart in the comments. Would I be the a-hole if we decide to cancel their invite? Photo of the dress attached. I could see how it could be deemed yellow, but it still seems way too close for my liking. The dress is one thing. The being condescending and downright rude to you is another. I would uninvite this person and not give it a further thought. If her boyfriend is cool, he can come on his own, problem solved. Yeah, like you don't even really like know this person much. It's a yellow dress, sweetie, calm down. The rage I would get from that, so passive aggressive. So passive aggressive, but you can play at that game. Like literally never tell anyone to calm down unless you want to invoke the devil. So we do in fact have an update.
I know you like the updates. I know you like them. I got one for you.
Quick but very important edit. Don't harass anyone you think may be the person I'm talking about. I've had a girl reach out to me that is no way involved who included this dress in a haul because she's being attacked. Okay, yeah, let's calm down on that. These are anonymous posts, okay? I bet you, like, it doesn't surprise me because it's like the internet is so ruthless when it comes to like, and this is what I'm wearing to a wedding and it's not black tie. And like, you know, it's like, it doesn't surprise me that people took it upon themselves to like go attack people to try and find the original video. Apparently, this dress is pretty popular and people are managing to reverse image search it and find it in people's videos. Wow, the internet is crazy. This was posted, to my knowledge, only to an Instagram story, and I don't believe anywhere else. Even if you do find this girl, I don't want her being harassed. She is, in my opinion, not a great person, but that doesn't make it okay for people to attack her. Okay, fine. It was heavily requested that I update my post from yesterday, and truly, who am I to disappoint? I got tons of feedback from people giving me ideas on how to spite her, to people calling me a raging control freak for wanting people to follow a dress code for a wedding my fiance and I am spending a lot of money on, for it to be a good experience for us and all of our adorned guests. I know I don't have to, but I do want to defend myself to a point. So skip ahead if you don't care. I do care, actually. And if you're not okay with it, you're the bride. Too bad. While I see the side of people having autonomy over their dress, I stand by my thought that it is reasonable to have a standard of dress for your guests. Should a guest be unable to afford something suitable for the dress code, a majority of our guests know they can contact me and we can work something out or help get them something that they're comfortable with that fits the vibe. Additionally, we were advised by our venue to enforce a dress code, which they said protects their reputation. Take that how you will. I've never been referred to as a control freak, but if not wanting a guest to wear a white-ish dress to my wedding makes me one, so be it. My upset comes more from a place of lack of respect for myself and our event than the concern of being upstaged. Intentionally wearing something revealing and white to a wedding is a show of disrespect in my opinion. It is. Like, it absolutely is. And like even yellow, like butter yellow, it's like, it can be a little too white. You know, that's why it's like, well, when in doubt, you know, ask the bride. She didn't even ask. I have absolutely zero concerns about being upstaged regardless of what anyone wears. There was someone that said I needed a better designer if that was a concern, but I love my dress and that's all that matters. I showed my fiance the original post and he said, it's like if someone wears muddy sneakers to your brand new Ferrari. You're not worried about them getting more attention because they're wearing muddy sneakers. You're upset because they don't respect your Ferrari and are taking away from what makes it nice. In regard to me seeing her post in the first place, I followed the entire friend group on Instagram and I followed her the day I met her and never unfollowed. Honestly, even though I don't like her, I do enjoy her shopping content. Obviously, this ended that, but I did enjoy watching some of her content. I definitely don't go out of my way to stalk her, as some have claimed. Oh God. It showed up on my feed and I watched casually. I just got lucky to have the post that she mentioned our wedding on my feed, I guess. But we were told by someone else in the friend group that is friends with her that they planned to tell us what she was going to wear since it again showed up very white on camera. We would have found out about this eventually because she was pretty obvious about it. A complete stranger even commented on the post, "You're wearing a white gown to a wedding?" That's a choice. I told you, like, people on the internet are very unforgiving when it comes to their opinions about what you wear to weddings. Lastly, people attack me for not immediately alerting my fiance. For context, my fiance works night shifts and this began while he was at work. He came home from work at 6 a.m. and went straight to sleep. I didn't want to interrupt him working. What he does is important and him being distracted can be dangerous for others and I didn't want that. And I definitely didn't want to prevent him from getting his sleep once he was home. I thought this wasn't a big enough deal to affect his job and health and that it could wait until tonight. And honestly, I stand by that. So on to the real update. Friday night, I showed him the messages and explained what happened. He said, absolutely not, and agreed that it was 1, not following the dress code expressed in our invitation, and 2, way too white for comfort. He was beyond pissed at the way she talked about me and said he'd handle it. I wanted to be involved, but as many of you pointed out, it could be very easily spun that I'm some crazy bridezilla. Should I be the one to pull the plug on her coming? He called her on speaker and she immediately asked if it was about me making a big deal about a dress. He said, no, it's about me making a big deal about the dress that you're not wearing to our wedding.
Ooh, I like him.
You could tell she was already escalated and went off about how she won't allow anyone to say what she can and can't put on her body. Oh, f off. Literally off. Okay? No, you cannot show up to a wedding in a micro bikini. You can't show up to a wedding in a white dress. And it's not a matter of feminism, okay? It's not a matter of like, oh, this is my body, my choice. Okay, it's your choice and it's also her choice not to include you. Just saying. I hate people that weaponize things like feminism and like body autonomy to justify bad behavior. Like, off with that. I hate that. He stayed quiet for a while. She ranted for at least a couple of minutes. Took all I had in me to not chime in with, calm down, and waited for her to go silent. As soon as she did, he said something to the effect of, you are no longer invited, and hung up.
That's kind of hot. That's kind of sexy. Ooh.
I love a man who sticks up for a woman. It only took about 10 minutes before we had someone reaching out to ask us for the full story. Yeah, because you know the first thing she did was go complain to somebody and lie about it. That's what we do, right? Like when we're in a fight with someone, we go and we call everyone to see who's on our side because this is war! This is war! I need to know who my allies are. It really is that deep. She told one of my fiance's friends that I freaked out about her dressing like a whore. Mind you, I said nothing about the style to her, and I haven't said anything about her looking like a whore anywhere, including here on Reddit. The post blew up and she may have seen it at some point, but I know I never said anything like that. A lot of commenters did though. We explained our stance and that her behavior surrounding everything was unacceptable and we did not want problems on our big day. And everyone seemed to just let it go. People that know her are still reaching out and probably will continue as she makes rounds freaking out to people. I wanted to see if she was going to blast us on social media, but we've both been blocked, which is fine, honestly. All in all, I stand by the fact that having a dress code at a wedding is fine. She's no longer coming. No word on if her boyfriend is coming, but I suspect not. I plan to just move on and alert security that she's not to be let in. Thankfully, we will have security and a day of coordinator to hide behind should she try to pull anything crazy, since she does know the venue and date. If anything happens, I'll update in June. I'll be waiting. If you come across an Instagram reel or TikTok of a girl upset she was uninvited to a wedding because of her dress choice, I just know that it could be my wedding and the dress was only part of it. Thanks to everyone for the helpful advice. Oh my God, we have people linked it in the comments. Okay, this is the dress. That looks pretty f***ing white to me, babe. That's not butter yellow, okay? That's ivory. Not to mention even the style. Like, again, it's like, I don't love to judge people on what they're wearing. You know, some people can be a little sexy, but I could see how people would think that this is inappropriate for a wedding. I could. $12, I cannot. Wow, yeah, 12 bucks. Pretty good deal. Yeah, her and her ivory dress. So in case you're wondering, OP, no, you are not the a-hole.